Hi, welcome to Your Checkup. We are the patient education podcast where we bring conversations from the doctor's office to your ears. On this podcast, we try to bring medicine closer to its patients. I'm Ed Dulesky, a family medicine doctor in the Philadelphia area.
And I'm Nicole Rufo. I'm a nurse.
And we are so excited you were able to join us here again today. As promised on the last episode, we did watch the poop cruise.
Yeah, we did.
We did. What did you think?
What did I think? Everyone was kind of weird that they interviewed. Am I allowed to say that?
Yeah, you're allowed to say that.
They were all weird. And I mean, is pooping in a red bag really that awful?
Thank you. Yeah.
I feel like it's not.
Thank you. That's really where I came to it. Like, you're on a floating vessel. For anyone who isn't going to watch this, but is curious to catch up. There were these people that left from in the Gulf of Mexico. They left from somewhere. I don't know. They were on a cruise, Galveston maybe. And they left on a cruise. It was a Carnival cruise. And they went over to Mexico, stayed there for a day or two, and then came back and the engine caught on fire and then led to several different power problems throughout the ship, including the toilets. And they were out there for a week or so. And so there were no working toilets, and they had to the people on the boat were oh, you need to poop in these red bags. These biohazard bags, and then we'll dispose of them. And some people just refused to do that. And then they pooped in the plumbing and wouldn't you know what happened? It overflowed.
Yeah,
Look, we're talking that I don't know if they were close to passing away or this was close to being a really, really big tragedy. Get over yourself. Poop in the bag.
Yeah,
Come on.
Poop in the bag.
Poop in the bag.
I mean, people poop on our street, so.
Excellent point. Yeah. I couldn't help but I don't know, it was then the tugboat came along and changed the angle of the cruise.
Oh, that was sick.
That actually was sickening. So with all these people pooping and peeing in the not functioning plumbing, when the ship tilted a little bit, so did its equilibrium and all of the contents. If you pick up what I'm putting down, smelling what I'm stepping in.
Yeah. Eek. That's gross. I don't think I needed any more endorsement to not go on a cruise, because I just don't think that's for me.
They tend to look very crowded.
Yeah. I feel claustrophobic thinking about them.
Yeah.
All those people on a boat, and then you're just stuck in the middle of the ocean.
It does seem like a lot. Yeah. Right. I'm and then there's always something to do. It seems.
You touch land. I mean, I know you get off and do things and then get back on, but I don't know. I don't think it's for me.
Maybe it's not. So if you're curious what we're talking about here, maybe you go check it out. It's on Netflix. The poop cruise. Yeah. I can't help but think that this ties in well to what's happening in Center City.
Center City, actually all of Philadelphia has turned it into a poop cruise, because are they called? District 33. The union is on strike, and part of that union includes all of the sanitation workers. So there is no trash collection in Philadelphia, and it's been 2 days.
I actually think today was the first day that there would have been trash collection. But the word's been out there that this has been happening since Tuesday at midnight or so. And
no, Tuesday, because over that way, their trash is on Tuesday.
Oh, yeah. So then this has been happening since then.
Yeah.
It's not bad yet. There were definitely some people who didn't get the word, so they put out their stuff.
Yeah, I'm wondering how long it's going to be on our. It's we're our house is on the corner.
Yeah.
So that's where they put their trash. So I wonder how long it's going to be sitting in front of our house for.
Probably. If there was any excuse to get out of the city.
We're leaving promptly after work tomorrow.
20 hours from now. From the time
this time tomorrow we'll be at the beach.
Yeah.
We'll be settled into the beach. It's late. It's already 8:30.
Yeah. I hope they figured this out. I hope that by the time this comes out, they have this settled already. they have an alternative setup for anyone wondering, like, what will they do? Like, there are apparently like several different places to go drop your stuff off.
Yeah, but I don't know if that's getting collected because it looks like it's all just sitting there.
Yeah, if there was an opportunistic waste management group, like privately, that wanted to rake
Philly.
it in.
I don't know who's going to pay you, but
no, I don't either. I think
Bill the mayor. It's her
honestly,
fault.
you could probably like get the locals to pitch in to like a private fund of like, yeah, all the people on any street that you can get them to just like come by and do it. Maybe they would do that. I think that would be a prime business opportunity.
Yeah, we'll see what it's like when we come back after
the
4th of July.
No, it's going to be awful. But for the moment you've been waiting for, where did you go? Because we left them off on a cliffhanger last week. We're going to get into our dinner review part of the episode here before we break into the meaty part of the side effect episode of GLP-1s. Where did I take you for dinner?
We went to Kalea, which is a Thai restaurant. And it was, I feel like we say this every time we go somewhere. It was like one of my favorite dinners we've ever had. It's up there with Soraya.
Mm-hmm.
And they're in the same, actually, and Picnic, and they're in the same group, which I think we talked about last week. But whatever they got going on at, what is it, Divine Hospitality?
Truly.
Is that what it's called? Whatever they have going on there, like, I love it.
They're winning. It's for us.
And the, I don't know who she was. She was like the HBIC of the restaurant, and she kind of reminded me of the grandmother from Crazy Rich Asians.
Oh.
Like she gave that energy, and she was just like walking around. I don't know if she was like the owner.
Yeah, I think she was the owner or the chef because like when they came out with the bill and you flipped it over,
it was like a picture. Yeah, and like the menu was, it was all inspired by places where like the main chef's grandmother or mother was from in Thailand.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder who that was. But that's always like a nice touch when like the owner or like,
oh my God,
someone like, because she was like, thanks for coming in.
Right.
Like going
us.
around to everyone, like seeing how everything was.
Yeah.
Because that's what, when we were in Asheville, when we went to curate the, I forget her name, that the like chef owner person like was like going around to everyone.
Oh, really?
Yeah, don't you remember?
No, this was like, that was so early on in like the restaurant experience, like going to this place when
Eddie's never been to a restaurant before.
but like I, now having lived here.
Yeah, because remember that restaurant like won some award, or like she won something specifically. And I only knew that because I was like looking up on their Instagram and stuff before. And then I was like, oh my God, that's her. And she just like thanked us for coming in.
Yeah, no, that was so early on in my like lived experience of enjoying food like this.
Oh my God.
So there was no way that I remembered that. I would love to go back and to like relook at the menu and take a different perspective. But to bring it back to Kalea, our server was great. He was awesome. Michael was awesome. Very warm, welcoming. As soon as you sat down, you went in. Big space, big, like bright space, lots of windows. I tried to deke you out a little bit and make you think that we weren't going there by like.
I knew exactly where we were going when you said one thing.
I know.
You picked me up from work and I was like, okay, so like what time do we need to be ready to go? And you like said the time and you're like, yeah, you know, give us time to like get up there and get parking.
I know.
So you said get up there, and there are like two places up there that we haven't been. The only thing I knew is that we haven't been to this restaurant, that we haven't been, that we've talked about, and that we've wanted to try.
I know.
I was like, oh my God, are we going to Kalea?
There's like no way to get something.
And you tried to play it off.
I did. I was like trying so hard, and like I was so impressed that you can just like snap it out of thin air and just like find where we're gonna go. It's a little demoralizing to really truly like surprise you. But all in all, terrific. So the very bright and open, they were all like bright eyed and bushy tailed when you walk in. Mm-hmm. Sit down, very cozy, and you know, nice tap water. Tap water was great. But let's get into it. I mean, so the beverages were delicious. We've gotten some comments that we talked too much about beverages here, so we'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
But take me through your feelings on the dumplings, because it's only going to go up from here.
Yeah, we got some sort of like dumpling. What was it? Was it chicken? It was like a little spice. They were blue. That was interesting.
Yes.
They were tasty.
Super tasty. Glad we did it.
Yeah. They had a couple other like dumpling things that we probably will try again.
Yeah.
But they were good. And then the appetizers we got.
Oh, here we go.
Well, first it was this like coconut rice something.
Mm-hmm. Which was great.
I don't know. It was delicious. I loved it. And then
let him hear about this.
Best appetizer, which was probably our favorite thing. What was actually I'm going to pull up the menu.
Yeah, give them credit so that they can like.
Oh my God.
Find it if they're gonna go.
Haven't ever had anything like this. It was the best thing. Like I would go back. Wait, Kalea. Oh my God. Am I okay? Kalea. I would go back just for this appetizer. Okay, menu. So,
and then if you can leave that up so that we can talk about it and not just butcher these names.
Oh, here it is. Okay. I don't know how you pronounce it. It's the first appetizer on the menu. It's crispy garlic chive rice cakes with a spicy sweet soy sauce. So we saw rice cake and we thought it was going to be like a thin, crispy situation that you like put soy sauce on, which also sounds good. But this
crunch.
It was like a brick. It was like 3 square bricks, crispy on the outside. And then I don't know what's inside. There was some like spinach something happening.
It was
which
delicious,
like sounds
whatever.
gross. It was delicious.
No.
It did not taste like spinach. And it was like gooey in the middle, and then you put this soy sauce on it.
It was the best soy sauce
that
I've
was
ever
this
had.
like spicy sweet soy sauce. I don't know what's in it, but it was not your average soy sauce. It was delicious, and it was, oh my God, it's so good.
Yeah,
I would go back for that.
Like that has to be on the thing when you go there.
Yeah,
that like you got to try it. That was amazing. I loved that, and I mean that was just the beginning.
Yeah, they do have a tasting menu, which we typically love a tasting menu. We just decided not to do it this time because there were things off of the tasting menu that we wanted to get more.
Yeah.
So we just like did that. But the tasting menu also looked good. And then the people next to us.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
We're
Well,
like,
interruption of the review here for this.
I just like, sometimes I'm like, you just like don't know how to act in public to people. And like, the
royal you, right? Like
the royal you. Yeah.
Yeah.
People. And okay, like tasting menus, sometimes on a tasting menu you get the options of like pick from this section, and this section. This tasting menu was set, and like this is what you got on the tasting menu. And then people next to us are like, I don't eat beans, can I sub this with this? And they're subbing like 4 out of the 7 things on the tasting menu. Like what?
Yeah.
Just order off the menu. Right. That's not what, like the tasting menu is curated like by the people for a reason. That's what it's for.
Yeah. Like if you're going
to order whatever you're going to order, just
you should probably just order your own dish. I get it. Like one off or asking.
Yeah.
They went in a couple times.
Like, I don't eat this. I don't eat beans. I don't eat this. Okay. Maybe you should go to a different restaurant.
It was the tone and the delivery too. It was. Michael was very gracious.
Yeah,
and he was
Michael had to wait on them too.
He did. Look, Michael. It was. There are people with dietary restrictions out there, and like they want to go on the tasting menu too. But there was the delivery and the like going in multiple times, dipping like, can I change 4 out of the 7? It's a little too much.
Okay, back to our full food review. So then we got a curry. Oh, that was also so good.
So delicious.
It was the yellow curry with chicken and then served with something else that I can't pronounce. And the like coconut turmeric rice. That rice was so good too.
I mean, I didn't know rice could be like different and amazing, but it was. I loved how she like invited us to be like, oh, do you want to like know how you should eat this? Like, please.
Yeah, there's a whole experience to putting it together with the rice, and then they give you a boiled egg, and you like
crush that egg down.
Crush the egg into the rice, and then you put the chicken and then like the curry over it.
Wow.
It was so good.
It was a little spicy. It was like the medium spice option on the menu, it seems. It was pretty spicy. So just be mindful of that. If you're going to go, I can't stop thinking about it. And the chicken, 2 restaurants in a row with chicken.
I know.
Amazing. It was delicious. We meant to go there with Karthik and Mike at an other event.
I have to say, Mike, if you're listening to this in your basement doing basement things, I think you would enjoy it. However, I'm so happy Eddie did not go with you and Karthik to Kalea, so I could enjoy it.
Yeah, that would have been a tough one to come back from, because you went to Laser Wolf and then they gave me some like reviews and like we aren't jumping to go there. It sounds like it was great, but like this
honestly,
one,
Soraya was better than Laser Wolf.
I would have felt guilty coming back after this. Yeah, that was something. Do you have any more love notes for the yellow curry chicken?
No, all around 10 out of 10. And then we got whatever they're like crab fried rices, which I think is like a popular menu item.
It seemed
that
like
was also delicious. Oh, did you eat that today?
No, we still haven't. It seems a little misleading because it's like written as colossal crab, and maybe that's just me. Like maybe colossal crab means something else than like giant hunk of crab. It was absolutely delicious. I have no notes on it. I can't make anything like that.
I feel like I don't know everything we got. I would maybe get a different dumpling just to try another one.
Yeah,
but everything I would just order that same thing. I think
I may be interested in trying, because I'm really happy we got that coconut rice, and then now knowing that there was rice that came with the curry chicken, like I may.
We did have a lot of rice.
There's a lot of rice, and I may explore different options, but that was just like out of this world. Somehow it always feels like a superlative comes out of these meals, which really just makes me feel amazing about the city of Philadelphia. And like coming in here nearly 4 years ago being like, oh yeah, the food scene is great, is what they say.
No, it really is.
No, it truly is. It is truly great.
I know. I was saying this to you last night when we left, like every time we go somewhere, there's always something that's like the best thing we've ever had, like the crispy rice cakes, like best thing we've ever had. Yeah.
And then how often these are experiences that like we feel compelled to talk about and remember. And, I think we do a great job of keeping pace and trying to like explore and do new things. But like, there's a lot of them too. Like we got to go to Pizzeria Badia, same like
that's
group
next on the list
that like does all of this stuff. So like I'm gearing up for what may be the best pizza of my life.
I think they also have, people say, I think it's there. I have to check, but I think they have this like sweet cream ice cream or something. I think it's there. And I think that's what it is. And if it's not, then I just sound dumb. But also people say it's like the best.
Oh, wow. And we didn't even get the chance to have like a dessert because we were just so full, which is totally fine. We enjoyed a cookie when we came back.
We did. Maybe we'll spend your summer break trying a new restaurant every week. It's for work, technically. It's for the podcast.
It's for the podcast. This is not for anything else. This is academic and exploratory is really what it is. All right. I think that's everything on my list.
It's everything on the list?
I think so.
All right. Well, let's watch Love Island. I have to see why everyone's being mean to our queen, Amaya.
Oh, poor lady.
Everyone just wants her to win. Did we talk about this real quick about Love Island? That
not since the last time we recorded.
Amaya is like the only one besides Jalen, because he didn't have social media. She's the only one who, because everyone else, like they go on Love Island and then they give one of their friends their Instagram login so that they can like post stuff about it, and like when there's like voting and stuff. So like all their Instagrams are still active. And then
is that how that works?
They'll like repost stories that people are posting and like tagging them in because they don't have their phones. So
right.
One of their friends is doing it, and like she's the only one that hasn't, like her Instagram isn't active, and she's like the only one who everyone's like, she's the only one who didn't go on there for more followers, and like she actually just wants to find love.
Oh, wow. No kidding. I didn't realize that was how that worked. I was curious how like these people are.
Yeah. Their like friends are doing it.
Okay. Like they're like, some of them are in full on sponsorships already and like advertising for items.
Yeah.
Influencing.
Well, some of them. So Nick was like, I saw him in like a Figs ad. Like he was doing like model stuff.
Oh.
And Sierra was like a micro influencer in like wherever she lives. But then she's also fishy because she's friends with this girl who's like problematic. But then she was like a huge fan of the show. She had a Love Island themed birthday a couple years ago.
Oh, really?
One of her good friends was on it. It was like a whole thing. So everyone's like, oh, you just came on here to like, which honestly, like if I was trying to make the trajectory of my life being an influencer, I would go on Love Island.
Sure.
It doesn't even matter about the money because when you leave Love Island, now you have 1 million followers.
Right.
And like, I mean, the money from Love Island, it's $100,000 split between 2 people. So you get like 25 grand of that. You're going to make that in a sponsorship.
Yeah.
If you have 1 million followers, you know?
It's about what happens after.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't begrudge anyone for...
But not our sweet Amaya.
No.
She's just a nurse from New York City.
Especially this show. I mean, like, Love is Blind, I would feel more strongly. Like, that one hurts that people go on there to do the whole influencer life. Like, it's not what it was in the beginning, where people actually did it. This one, who's actually... I'm kind of with Mary on this one. Like, that, I don't actually think people are going on there with the true intent, aside from Amaya and Jalen, to like find the love of their life.
I mean, yeah, no one goes on reality TV to like not be in the public eye.
Sure, but like,
although the people from season 6 are like still together, and then there's like
that.
Tommy and Molly from a couple years ago. You know,
but it does. I feel like it does box you into this certain life where like you're with these people who have this like understanding of what you all went through, which creates this common ground that's very relatable.
Mm-hmm.
It's like going to the same high school with someone and being like, oh yeah, I remember when. And then like there's like only so many memories you have because like you went to high school with them and like you call back on those. Like, oh yeah, remember when we were in Fiji? I don't know. But I hear you though. No, I'm excited to, I mean, we'll see what happens. I'm excited to see why people are now trashing her. Not our Queen Amaya, but Sierra.
Oh, I do know why.
Oh, don't tell me.
It doesn't have to have what I can't talk. It doesn't have anything to do with last night's episode.
Oh, it's like outside of all of this, they've like discovered something about her.
Yeah, I'll tell you offline.
Okay. All right. Why don't we dive in? All right. So what are we going to talk about today, Nick?
Today we're talking about something people love talking about.
For sure.
In general, which are side effects. But today we're talking about the side effects of GLP-1 medications.
That's actually not where I thought you were going to go with it, but that
What
was
did
really
you think
funny.
I was going to say?
I thought like you were going to be like, oh yeah, everyone loves GLP-1s. We're going to talk about them, but
oh no, everyone loves a side effect.
They do. Everyone loves the side effect. They love to forget.
Nobody loves an effect. They all love the sides.
Correct.
You know?
Yep. No one likes the main dish. Everyone likes the side dish.
Yeah.
So all of the information from today's episode is going to be pulled from a collection of information from the American Diabetes Association, American College of Cardiology, American Association of Clinical Endocrinology, and multiple systematic reviews and peer-reviewed clinical trials, as well as some of our own personal experience helping and seeing people on these medications and reading some content online as well. So, like Nikki said, we are talking about these GLP-1 medications, and if someone hasn't had the chance to interact or understand with what these medications are, they are medications that go by the names of Ozempic, Wegovy, Zepbound, Mounjaro, and they are medications that are used to manage type 2 diabetes and manage the chronic disease of obesity. They also have some other indications that are being used far and wide, including cardiovascular risk reduction, treatment of sleep apnea. The list goes on and on at this point. What we do know is that they help lower blood sugar and they can support people by helping them lose weight as well. And as we are seeing more and more, these are becoming prescribed all the time, all over the place, because these tend to be very widespread issues that people deal with. And so like you were saying, these medicines have effects. We were kind of going through what those effects are a little bit there, but like all medicines, they also cause a side effect. And that's really what we want to get down to the nitty gritty of today, so we can talk about them and we can shed some light, because this is all over the place. We probably spend our most time on Threads, and like this, there are also entire Facebook groups of people, and the side effects for GLP-1 medications, people talk about all the time.
Yeah, they love it.
They do. Can you, one other disclaimer is that we're going to talk about the most common side effects. We won't be hitting every single side effect that someone has experienced or discovered under the sun. These are just the most frequent ones that come up. And also things come up more as we learn more about medications and people are on them for longer periods of time. But without further ado, why don't we get into it and talk about the most common side effects? Nick, is there a certain class of side effects that come up most frequently with these meds?
Yeah, the most common are, that I'm sure you've heard about, are the gastrointestinal side effects. And that's because the GLP-1 medication slows down your digestion, which is great for weight loss, but not so much, or not as great for your stomach at first. So we have the little trifecta of some nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, one or all of those things, perhaps. Especially when you first start, and then when you're increasing your dose, that can happen. And then along with that, some bloating and stomach pain, and might feel full quickly, which is, feeling full quickly is like an effect of the medication, whatever.
Right.
Because that's like how it's working.
Right. Yeah. Some of it is, a lot of it is the appetite regulation in the brain that happens as these medications work. And for a period of time, they do slow down the gastric emptying, but that eventually goes away. And so when someone eats a lot of food really quickly, it distends their stomach, and that can give the sensation of nausea. But those symptoms right there are exactly what people may be experiencing most frequently. There's also another class. It's heartburn and acid reflux. These can be slightly more common with these medications. There are also some types of bariatric surgery that lead to that. While these are not bariatric surgery, the types of bariatric surgery like a sleeve gastrectomy can lead to increased GERD or acid reflux symptoms. So those also bother people. Their gallbladder problems have been described in the literature. Specifically, gallstones can happen, especially if you're losing weight really quickly. And that's just a function of how your body's changing. If you like go much above the 1 to 2 pounds a week, you can possibly end up with gallstone issues. However, that's relatively rare. Low blood sugar is something that can happen. These specific medications themselves aren't branded to cause hypoglycemia, but oftentimes people are put on these medications while they might be on other medications, and those together can cause low blood sugar or hypoglycemia. Another side effect people might get isn't related to the medicine, but it's related to the way that most of them are administered, with an injection site reaction, which can look like redness, swelling, itching at the site of injection. And so basically anytime you put something into your body, there's a chance that it reacts less than ideally. Even if you're putting a needle through your skin, it can become irritated. And something that we're going to probably bounce out and do a whole different episode on is that there is a hint in the literature that there are some vision changes that can happen. These vision changes, but more specifically, I mean that people who already have diabetic retinopathy, so already have it, or people who get really quick resolution or correction of their blood sugar are at increased risk of developing some eye problems. And more specifically, the rapid correction can maybe worsen diabetic retinopathy. There is some signal in the literature that might happen. And there is this other entity that people have probably seen headlines about called non-arteritic anterior ischemic optic neuropathy. It was a mouthful for me to say too. It's abbreviated to NAION. And there also is a small signal that a lot of ophthalmologic journals are looking into, thinking, do these medicines increase the risk of this a little bit? Right now, there's a signal for it, meaning that like it's something to think about. But the American Diabetes Association doesn't say just like this is a reason to not try this medicine, but it's something to keep an eye out. If you have an eye doctor, you should probably let them know that you're taking this medicine. And this is an evolving situation with papers coming out like monthly about what these things are, how should we think about them, is there anything else going on? And for the most part, I mean, some things we didn't cover were like any associated muscle loss that might happen from taking these medications, which also might just be an effect. That's something that we already talked about in a different episode. So I'm going to go back and forth. Some of the next part of the episode, we're going to talk about the real meat of this. Like we talked about what the side effects might be. We didn't cover an exhaustive list, but we're going to talk about how to ease the side effects or maybe even prevent them, which will be a really interesting thing and helpful for people at home. I'll start us off here. So the first thing to do would be to start low and go slow. There really is no need to rush with these medicines. This is the long game. A gradual dose escalation is the most favorable way to go. That's why you see the pace of like maybe trying out a dose for a month, but it doesn't even have to be that fast. Like you can go longer than that before you go up and your body gets used to it. So it doesn't have to be every 4 weeks. This is something that's on your own personal body. There's a lot of schools of thought that may invite that you try to squeeze out everything you can out of a certain dose before going up on the next one, which is something to do. So like if you're thinking about Zepbound, 2.5 milligrams, some people would say like you need to try to get as much as you can out of that dose before going up to the next dose. Some people try to escalate up and get up as high as they can, as fast as they can, and that may predispose them to having some side effects. So the big takeaway there is start low and go slow. You don't need to rush. So the next thing is thinking about eating small meals and slowly eating. The idea here is that this can help with the nausea, maybe some bloating, and feeling overly full. One key piece of it, not advice, but key thing to think about would be to cut the portion size of your meal in half preemptively so that you aren't over distending your stomach. So you see what your plate has, cut it in half. And that may help stave off some of that nausea from that over distension. Something that we think about a lot is mindful eating. And by this, I mean like be present while you are eating what you are eating. Because when you're not, we have a tendency to go further along than we need to. Like if I'm standing watching you eat soup and I'm shoveling chips into my mouth and I'm just like looking at you like I'm mindlessly eating. So when you're trying to do this, don't eat while you're like watching TV maybe, or don't be on your phone while you're eating. Again, these are all very easy things to say, but harder things to do and practice, but they could help not to overeat, which can lead to that nausea and that bloating. There are some over-the-counter medications and some medications that may be prescribed from your doctor. It's a reasonable thing to think about anti-nausea medicines if like you're taking your first couple doses or you're going up on the doses and things aren't going your way and you're feeling nauseous. You can ask. There are options out there that might help. And there are over-the-counter medications for anti-diarrhea as well. So you can think about those if these medications are giving you diarrhea. But the good thing is mostly the side effects go away. They should go away as you're on them a longer period of time. This next side effect to talk about, which I was kind of interested to see, doesn't have a lot of formal literature about it, but it's something that's present online a lot, which are these sulfur burps. Like people describe like they eat food and then like for hours later, they're sitting there and they're just like burping up what smells like rotten eggs. Ew. Yeah, it just seems like a really nasty side effect. And I looked this up and I looked it up in a lot of different ways on a lot of different tools. And there isn't a lot of formal literature out there. there also isn't, we think that the idea is that there's prolonged digestion happening when food's sitting in your stomach longer, and this leads to increased sulfur byproducts. It just so happens that we covered a separate, distinct episode about how to kind of make your farts smell less smelly by the exact mechanism of reducing sulfur byproducts with a medicine very easily available over the counter. Remember what that medicine was?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, Pepto.
Yeah. What I have you know, there's nothing in the literature about maybe using Pepto for sulfur burps associated with GLP-1 receptor agonists. It seemed
maybe we should do a study on it.
Right. I mean, it seems like it's ripe for the taking to look into this. Just recruit a bunch of people who have these self-proclaimed sulfur burps and say, if you took Pepto, did it make you feel better? This is a question I have. So I also incognito went into one of these Facebook groups to see if people were out here doing this. And I went anonymous and I asked the question, is anyone out here using Pepto to manage these sulfur burps? And there were a couple people who were like, yeah, use Pepto. I've used it and it's helped.
And it works?
Yeah.
Oh.
That's what they've said. So I thought that was very interesting. There's no evidence to back this up whatsoever, but something to consider. Can you take us through a couple different dietary adjustments or things we can think about that might help avoid some of these annoying GI symptoms?
Yep. So not rocket science, but we're avoiding greasy and spicy food because that's not going to make any kind of GI symptom you're having better. And hydration is your friend. Drink lots of water. Let's be honest, you're probably not drinking enough, so start drinking more.
Yeah, some of my thoughts there are that greasy and spicy foods bother a lot of people anyway. And I think people end up being more susceptible to being bothered by those when they're on these medications anyway. And it's like a food that already bothers someone is now extra making them bothered. And so if you have to avoid something for a little while, maybe you try to gently add it back into your diet. I really don't like making big changes with people where they're like, oh, I have to eliminate this completely, but it may come to it, right? Mm-hmm. Something that didn't make it to our outline is constipation. So many people get constipation on here with these medications, and it really invites an opportunity to think about, like you mentioned, the water and increasing your fiber intake. People definitely need way more fiber than they usually are taking, and there's a specific amount of fiber for your body weight and who you are as a person. There are fiber supplements. Our intern is gnawing away at a bone this entire time. I don't know if it'll be picked up on the mic, but there are fiber supplements while you're trying to get more fiber into your natural diet because that's more delicious and more fun and more inviting. One other side effect that happens, we talked about vomiting and diarrhea. Vomiting mainly as a function of nausea. And so we talked about using some medicines. But one thing to really think about is remaining hydrated in these moments. In a few previous episodes, we've talked about having diarrhea and vomiting being dangerous as it relates to your kidney health. And if you deplete the volume in your body enough, then you may harm your kidney. So the idea is to remain as hydrated as possible, but also with electrolytes and more fluid that looks a little bit more like the stuff flowing through our body. I'm not saying go drink blood, but Pedialyte looks more like the concentration with solute in our body than water does simply. Same thing with Gatorade too. Something else to think about is GLP-1 receptor agonists and medications that you're taking. So if you're taking insulin or you're taking a medication called sulfonylurea, it may be worth a conversation with your doctor to make some dose adjustments to make sure that you're not getting low blood sugar. As we talked about, we said that the GLP-1 receptor agonists don't themselves typically cause low blood sugar, but they overall lower the tide and increase the sensitivity to insulin. So if you're on insulin, it may beg that you have a lower dose. I've also seen it where separately outside of like diabetes medicines. Blood pressure medicines may need to be adjusted. I have a specific story of a gentleman who had sleep apnea and he lost about 30 pounds on Mounjaro, and he also had hypertension. He had pretty poorly controlled diabetes, and he was on the Mounjaro and he was doing really well, lost the weight. He said that his partner was looking at him when he was sleeping and that he was like not stopping breathing as one would with sleep apnea. And I would get messages back saying, like, and we put him on a blood pressure medicine initially. And he said that like, oh, my blood pressure is this. I'm feeling a little dizzy and my blood pressure is this. And it was much lower than it was ever in the office. But that's part and parcel of these medicines, is that they're affecting so many different body systems, where we're treating his sleep apnea by also treating his underlying obesity and his type 2 diabetes. So now that his sleep apnea is better, his blood pressure is better. And so that blood pressure medicine that he was on, because his whole body composition is different now, he may not need it. So we like pulled back on the dose a ton and seeing how things go. But this is also a very real thing that happens. All right. Can you take us through the next couple things? Like, what can we do to avoid injection site reactions?
Well, it makes it more tolerable if you're rotating the injection site. So do like your stomach one time. I mean, this is only like a weekly thing, but it still helps, like your stomach and then a leg and then your arm. So that helps.
Yeah, that's helpful. Also good to probably make sure it's clean, right?
Yeah.
You don't want any like risk of infection or anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, basic injection prep things. So what should someone be looking out for if that rare gallbladder stuff happens?
So the gallbladder lives in the right upper quadrant. So if you're to kind of touch yourself in your belly right there, right under your rib cage is where the gallbladder lives. And if you have belly pain in that area, if you have a fever, or you happen to be noticing yellowing of your eyes or skin, you should call your doctor and let them know. And this is just an FYI about when to reach out or go present for some in-person care that might be helpful. A similar thing, there has been explained that there's some risk of pancreatitis from these medications themselves. Sometimes that's related to the gallstones in general. But the word of caution here is to don't overdrink alcohol. I had one colleague who asked me like, oh, this guy was on a GLP-1 receptor agonist. He was at his daughter's graduation. He was having a grand old time. And then he landed in the hospital because he was drinking like a lot of alcohol that day. And so they make you more susceptible to pancreatitis, this inflammation of the pancreas that can be very dangerous and very painful. So just be mindful of that when you're thinking about those next steps and things to do or things to do less of.
So let's talk about eye health. Can you remind us what we can do about that?
So if someone has diabetes, they should be getting yearly eye exams with an eye doctor. And so this becomes way more important when people are on these medications, because if you have pre-existing diabetic retinopathy, you should be getting them checked regularly. So there's no pun intended here, but just keep an eye out for vision changes. There is a signal in the literature that there is possible worsening of a few different ones, like diabetic retinopathy, maybe some signal of worsening macular degeneration, or some worsening of this NAIO. The goal of this is to not get you to understand the inner workings of our very complicated optic system, but maybe you should have a relationship with an eye doctor. Maybe you ask your doctor about that, especially if you're on this for diabetes management. And if you have any vision changes, ask. That's all it is. It's something to think about, something to look out for. And one last side effect that we're going to cover here today is something that isn't described in the literature significantly right now, but I expect it to be, is this side effect of anhedonia, or this just feeling of blah, I don't want to do anything. And it's been described with these medicines. If anyone was to go online or you're to ask a few people, they might just feel ugh. And I think it has something to do with how like the appetite regulation and the pleasure system in the brain is working, not necessarily the amount of calories that you're like taking in. That may invite thinking about the dose that you're currently on, and is it too high, or should we go down a dose, or is there another medicine that might be able to help you in these times? And all I'm saying there is just keep an open mind. If you're listening to this and you're like, oh, I might actually feel some of that, ask, because it's out there. It's a real thing. It's being figured out. Some of this comes up in time, and then more research needs to be done to figure this stuff out. So if you do feel this way, think twice, and maybe you just reach out and ask for help, because it is a real thing. You're not crazy. All right. And so in this last little bit, we're just going to do a couple highlights about when you should reach out. If you have severe persistent nausea or vomiting, you should probably reach out because maybe something needs to change. If you have signs of pancreatitis, which is a belly pain in the upper belly that shoots to the back, maybe you should probably reach out. If you're having those gallbladder symptoms that you're thinking about in that right upper quadrant of your belly, maybe you should reach out for help. If you're having vision changes, you should probably reach out for help. And anything that feels unusual to you or doesn't improve over time is probably something that you should reach and ask for help. But overall, most side effects do improve over time, which is great news. These medications remain powerful tools for your health, but there are risks and benefits to various different things and everything we do practically. So thank you for coming back to another episode of Your Checkup. Hopefully you were able to learn something for yourself, a loved one, or
a neighbor with side effects.
You can send us an email at yourcheckuppod@gmail.com. You can visit our Instagram or our website, and make sure that you follow the show so that you see when other episodes come out. They come out weekly on Mondays. And most importantly, stay healthy, my friends. Until next time, I'm Ed Dulesky.
I'm Nicole Rufo.
Thank you and goodbye.
Bye.
This information may provide a brief overview of diagnosis, treatment, and medications. It's not exhaustive and is a tool to help you understand potential options about your health. It doesn't cover all details about conditions, treatments, or medications for a specific person. This is not medical advice or an attempt to substitute medical advice. You should contact a healthcare provider for personalized guidance based on your unique circumstances. We explicitly disclaim any liability relating to the information given or its use. This content doesn't endorse any treatments or medications for a specific patient. Always talk to your healthcare provider for a complete information tailored to you. In short, I'm not your doctor.
I am not your nurse.
And make sure you go get your own checkup with your own personal doctor.